Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Have another washer dryer combo video for you. Yes, this is a new one. Shout out to LG for sending this to me because yes, they actually sent this to me to review, which super thankful for that. Which really I'm more grateful to like all of you, the viewers, who made that possible because apparently washer dryer videos are hot. People love them, but basically, so this is the LG Ventless Wash Combo all-in-one. Yes, I know that's a mouthful, but this is the newest addition to LG's combo lineup because yes, they do have others. This is their Gen 2 model, which I'm going to get into that. I'm not going to forget about that, but this is just basically just kind of an overall rundown of this thing in terms of capabilities and some of the features. But yeah, let's get started. All right, so the ventless wash combo all-in-one by LG. So yes, it has ventless in the name because yes, it's completely ventless. Unlike a traditional standard dryer, you don't have to hook up a, a dryer vent or anything like that at a dryer hose and it vents to the atmosphere because that's just a waste of energy in my opinion. There's no point in that. So it's completely ventless. It does come in two colors. This is the black steel, and it also comes in graphite steel, which more looks like a silver. They both do look pretty good, but I'm a fan of darker colors, so I went with this one. It also does utilize a heat pump. Heat pumps seem to be the new hotness right now for combos, just because they're a lot more efficient and use less power. Which, speaking of that, not only is it ventless and uses a heat pump, it also uses a 120 volt outlet versus a dryer that could use like a 240. Because all you really need to connect to go is your power. I do have water splitters just because I have two combos. So this basically, I picked them up from Lowe's for like 40 bucks for the two of them. It allows me to run hot and cold water to each of my machines. And then you need a spot for your drain hose. And that's literally it. That like you're all set. We'll check out the energy guide here. According to the energy guide, this thing, I do have a natural gas water heater. So you're looking around 10 bucks a year to operate this thing, which overall, that's not bad for doing laundry. That's pretty solid in my opinion. I know your first question is probably like, whoa, what is this weird thing up here on the top? It's the lint trap. The lint trap is up here at the top. I'm a big fan of that. Of course, I'm one-handing it at the moment, but basically how this works is this actually slides back and it allows the lint to exit freely without having to touch it into the garbage can. So overall, I thought that was a nice little touch. As you can see, I haven't emptied yet. There's lint and Tuxedo's hair. Yes, Tuxedo is my dog, and he's amazing. But we'll start. Okay, we'll start with the tray here. This does allow you to fill it with softener, liquid detergent. There's a slot for single-use HE detergent, which I didn't know this, but there apparently there's a lot of people that, apparently babies, like newborn babies, there's special detergents just for them. So if you decide that you don't want to use the detergent that's in here, you can put in like a single serve of the detergent you use for your baby, which, like I said, I learn something new every day. Spot for liquid bleach as well. And it even comes out, you just press on this little button to, if you ever decide you want to clean or do anything back there. I know a question a lot of people are like, well, I don't use softener. Well, neither do I. I used it once, never, like, it's not for me, but you can actually go into the menu here and you can actually change it to where this will use detergent instead. So you'll have two liquid detergent reservoirs. So I thought overall that was pretty cool. This does come out as well. Like I said, if you want to fill them a little bit easier. Overall, I thought that was really nice. We have some buttons here. So we'll turn it on real fast. There's our happy music. You can see the little pumpkin. So this thing does have app support through the LG. I think it's called the Think app. It's thin. It's spelled like Thin Q, but I think it's Think. But for some reason I keep calling it Thin Q. You have your standard play and pause button here. So about this little display here. So this display is very nice, but it's also a dial. You can actually rotate between your different, wash and dry cycles and everything. My only complaint is I do wish that this is plastic. This knob, or like this dial, is plastic. For something that costs $3,000, yes, I know it's pricey, I kind of wish that this was metal, just to give it a more premium feel. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I do wish. We have our third display over here, which this is a touch display. Did not know that at first. It has a spot for your options and everything, so you can actually go through some of your various options and and do all that. It does have remote start as well, but there is a kicker with remote start. It is a safety feature, the reason why they do it this way. But if you want to use remote start, you have to trigger it every time before you do laundry. So basically what you have to do, you have to throw your clothes in, close it, select remote start, and then it will lock the drum. Well, why is that? So this is a like worst case scenario. So say that you're not home, say that, you know, maybe the babysitter's here with your kids and maybe he or she's not paying attention. You don't want your kid getting in there and like closing the door and then you remote start your washer from work or wherever you are, and now your kid's in there. Like I said, horrible scenario, but that's why that they have the remote start the way it is. So is it inconvenient? Yes. Is it safe? Absolutely. I'm overall big fan of that. But getting back to these two displays. So my complaint. So as you can see, we'll kind of zoom out here a little bit. So we're on the AI wash dry cycle. As you can see, the dry light's illuminated. So my first time I was running a load of towels. As you can see, the dry light's not illuminated anymore. I wish that you could save your previous cycle like what you did. Because so for example, I threw in some towels and I went to the gym, went on my merry way. I came back, the towels were still soaked. I'm like, what the heck is going on? So if you want to do one of these cycles that doesn't have the dry light illuminated, so towels, for example, you have to press the dry light every time. I think that's a little bit convenient because honestly, there are not many scenarios where I'm just going to wash. Actually, I don't think there's been one so far in my year and a half of using washer dryer combos where I'm just going to wash. So I kind of wish that it would automatically revert to wash and dry. Food for thought, LG. Food for thought. Getting into the drum. So this drum is 5.0 cubic feet, which that's more than plenty of room to, I wash my king size comforters. I do everything in there. Like that's fine. It's got plenty of room. So it's nice white lighting here in the drum. The drum is still very clean. Overall looks very good. What else? Like I said, this is the Gen 2, which like I said, I'm going to get to that of why this is a Gen 2 model. We do have our spot here to where this is the secondary filter here at the bottom for all the gunky stuff kind of films, kind of builds. They do recommend cleaning that out once a month. My favorite feature is this, the pedestal. If you're going to buy one of these, don't get it without the pedestal because one, as you can see, it's a lot higher off the ground. Big fan of that. But we're going to open it up. You got a basket. It's a rubber like removable basket. So you can, basically what I do is I take my clothes, dump them into the basket. I take the basket in my room and then I fold them anywhere from 7 to 10 business days like a normal human. Right? 7 to 10, that's about the average, hopefully. But yeah, big fan of the pedestal with the basket. So I do highly recommend that. Ooh, so we talked about pretty much everything feature-wise. A lot of people ask like, how do I like it? How does it compare to the GE? Which this video is not about comparison. I'll do a comparison video later, but like I said, don't worry, baby. I haven't forgotten about you, but it's all about you today, LG. All about you. But speaking of LG, I'm not letting you off the hook. So I'm very into transparency. This is LG combo number 3 since April. Yes, you've heard that right. Because the first two that were Gen 1s, I had so many problems that it rendered these things almost basically unusable, but let's talk about that. So let's talk about the first one that I get delivered. The guys hook it up. They do everything just right. I decided to throw in some clothes just to do a test, just like I normally do. I'd say about an hour in, because I'll go back to that. It's about a 2-hour wash and dry cycle, which overall not bad. It's pretty good. But about an hour in, once the dry cycle starts, I'm downstairs. I notice my house reeks. It smelled almost like a new appliance smell, but it was so strong that I started getting nauseous. And like I knew it came from here, so I instantly I closed the door, I turned on the fan, I even opened up the windows to from my office and my bedroom, because I was getting to the point where I was not feeling well. But it gets worse. After the cycle completed, the smell from that actually transferred to my clothes to the point where I couldn't wear them. I actually had to rewash them in my other machine just to get the smell off. So I'm like, all right, there's, strike one. I'm already not a fan. And so I guess that's 1 and 2 is the strong smell and the smell transfer in my clothes. So that's strikes 1 and 2. Strike 3 was basically all the lint and hair was collecting in the rubber seal of the drum. It was to the point where nothing was getting into the lint trap at all. So I contact LG like engineering and I'm like, hey, this is the issues I'm having. These are major issues because like basically I can't wear my clothes. Because at first I thought I'm like, okay, whatever, it's the new smell. I ran like 5 or 6 cleaning cycles in this thing just to get the smell out. Didn't really work too much. I was, even after 3 weeks, I was still getting smell transferred to my clothes. So they apologized. They about a week or two later, they sent me another one. I'm like, yes, rejoice. We're going to have no more issues. Well, wrong. So the funny thing is when the guys pulled the second one off the truck, I noticed I could hear some water splashing around. So I think what happened was during their testing before they boxed it up and send it out is there was so much residual water that there was like this mildewy smell. So I think that's what was causing the odor. So same thing. I'm getting the smell. It's not as bad, but it was still there. But the big thing was the lint was even worse. Like literally, like there was so much lint and hair built up in there that every time after my use, like I would have to come and just scrape it out from the entire drum, the entire 360 of the drum liner. So same thing. I'm contacting LG. I'm like, hey, you guys sent me a dud again, which, I've worked in electronics long enough in previous careers that, I know some technology isn't perfect, but I'm like, damn, like this is brutal. So, because I told him, I'm like, hey, this thing is not usable. I can't use it, which thankfully I have another one. But for those of you that bought one of these, the Gen 1s, and this might be your only machine. So you're technically kind of screwed, which, like I said, if that happened to you, I am sorry. I highly recommend contacting LG and like having them swap out for a Gen 2 if able. But yeah, so that was, kind of my back and forth with LG, which I am happy. Like, shout out to LG though for actually taking my complaints and they actually fixed them. It did take a few months, I do understand. But so let's fast forward to August, the Gen 2 gets delivered. Totally redeemed themselves. The Gen 2 is fantastic. Like this thing is awesome. They definitely fixed all the bugs and everything that was wrong with the Gen 1. So yeah, overall super happy with the Gen 2. But yeah, that was just a crazy few months of having, those Gen 1s and all that. But really, that's kind of it. I did say this thing does MSRP for $3,000, which don't pay that. These things are actually on sale right now. Look around every holiday and you will see these things on sale. I think they're on sale right now for Veterans Day weekend for around, I think, $1,700, which, like I said, if you're looking to get a second one, that's what I highly recommend because, the two biggest questions I've gotten or comments, I guess you could say is, well, I got a big family. I need 2 of these. This isn't going to work for me, which I do have subscribers that have reported that have, one of these and they're like a family of 6 and they use one just fine. And then of course the other comment is like, well, I want to wash and dry at the same time. This is not going to work for me. My only advice to you is buy 2. If your pocketbook allows it, buy 2. Because I will admit though, having 2, it's actually kind of cool to where, I throw my clothes in one, I can throw my bedding in the other. Because why wash and dry at the same time when you can wash and wash at the same time and then dry and dry at the same time? So that's really my only bit of advice, but really that's kind of it. Like I said, I'm just going through some of the overall features. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, I'll be doing a comparison video and all that later. I will be doing, some standard like a 6-month review, how this thing's held up after a year, stuff like that. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. If you did, hit that thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, first, welcome. Make sure you subscribe as well. Definitely help me out a ton. But yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of your Veterans Day weekend.